fam, 49er gang. It's your boy 49er Dion here, back with another video. So definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications so I can keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. With that being said, let's get right on into it. So this is just a quick little video to touch on the top 100. Now I know that everybody, you know, has seen the top 100. We've all seen where everybody's been listed. But this is just to take a look at the players from the San Francisco 49ers that went ahead and made it, as far as our team is concerned and what we're doing. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump right on into it. Um, we've been doing okay this preseason, nothing over the top spectacular or too crazy, but I think we should be perfectly fine. We've seen a lot of good things from Trey Lance. We've seen some not so good things. But growing pains, we understand that it's a part of the game. Nothing can be, you know, automatically right off the bat. You're not going to expect him to be the perfect QB. But since this is about the top 100, and we're going to jump into the roster cuts pretty quickly, we're going to go ahead and throw that out there. So this is how top 100 looked, and I'll go top to bottom as far as who was ranked the highest, all the way to who was ranked the lowest. We'll get into a little bit about their stuff and figure that out. So, first guy, highest ranked member of the San Francisco 49ers was none other than All Pro Fred Warner. Now, Fred Warner definitely deserves it. He's been balling the last 2 years. He's been doing fantastic things. Nothing has been, further from the truth when it comes to Fred as far as the things that he's been doing and what he's shown us all this time. So Fred was listed at number 21. Now, I went ahead and took the liberty of seeing if there was anybody else that was listed ahead of him because I feel like Fred is the best middle linebacker in the game. And there was. So when the top 10 was revealed, coming in at number 10, if I'm not mistaken, was TJ Watt. So I did the liberty of pulling up their stats because I like to look at numbers as well outside of just play on the field. Now, when you go ahead and you pull up Fred Warner stats from last year, Fred Warner had 170, he had 125 tackles, 79 solo, 46 assisted. He had one sack, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, two interceptions. Um, he had six passes defense, and I do not know what STF means on ESPN.com. But those are his numbers. The thing with Fred is he's always all over the field. So he's everywhere. And Fred is probably one of the best sideline to sideline linebackers, period. If you look and you watch basically what they said about him when you see what's going on as far as the top 100, what's the first thing they said? They're like, this guy is like one of the best sideline to sideline linebackers, that ever existed in the game. And to me, I think they should have had more players outside of the organization talking about Fred because a lot of the people that were talking about him were strictly more so guys that were on the team. You had Juice, you had George Kittle. There were a couple of dudes talking about him that were already on the squad. And I kind of feel like if you're going to get a full barometer of who a guy is, and this is a list that is being made by his peers, you should have more of his peers saying something about him. So the guy that was ranked ahead of him was TJ Watt. Now, I think the number one reason that TJ Watt was ranked ahead of Fred Warner was more so based on how he was used. See, Fred is a middle linebacker, and the type of defense that we ran yet last year with that 4-3 is he was more of a coverage linebacker. You didn't see him blitzing a lot. You basically saw him doing what a middle linebacker does in a 4-3, especially the way that Robert Saleh ran it. Saleh ran it, front four does all the work, and the linebackers, they'll make sure that nothing gets over the middle on us, and the DBs just do their job. Now, The difference is this year you're going to see a little bit different, as far as different things from Fred because D'Amico Ryan is planning to blitz a little bit more. He's planning to, shake things up and make things look a little bit different. So I can appreciate that because I'd rather have it to a situation where we are actually going ahead and doing that. I'd like to see some more pressure, because you can't always put everything on the front four and expect them to deliver every single down. It does not work that way. Because there are times where people are going to look. If you got four and the offensive line has five, all right, who's the best defensive lineman? Let's double him, and we'll make sure that we wind up doing everything. Our sack leader last year was Kerry Hyder. I believe he had 8.5. And that was an injury riddled season, and we were still a top five defense. But it to me, I don't necessarily like not bringing pressure. I like bringing the pressure because that way it allows everything to continue to be, it allows the quarterback less time to be able to think and make decisions. So TJ Watt, 53 total tackles. So his total tackles all together, just his 53, didn't even amount up to the amount of solo tackles that Fred had just on his own. So Fred had 125 tackles. His solo tackles were 79. TJ Watt's were 53. But once again, Watt's used differently than Fred is. And they do it, they have a different scheme over there in Pittsburgh, aka Blitzburg, aka linebacker U. That's just normal, man. The linebackers in Pittsburgh are always usually very, very good. So he had 15 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 interception, 7 passes defense, and once again, I'm not sure what STF means. But what I could tell you is, let me take a look at the bottom. They usually tell you like, hey, STF means X, Y, and Z, or something to that effect. No, it doesn't. It doesn't show. Either way, most likely the reason that he got ranked ahead of Fred was because of those 15 sacks. If you got 15 sacks, you got 2 forced fumbles, that's a damn good year for a linebacker. You don't have to have the overabundance of tackles. You don't have to have the, ridiculous amount of actual, interceptions, things like that. And TJ Watt is the little brother of JJ Watt. He is a very dynamic player. So seeing TJ Watt ranked ahead of Fred, I can understand it. I'm not going to sit up here and complain about it. I think it works out well. It makes sense. So then we go to the next guy on the list. I still think All-Pro Fred is the better all-around linebacker, but pretty sure there's Steelers fans out there that feel different. But it's my team. I'm a homer. It is what it is. So the next guy on the list is Trent Williams. He was ranked number 42. The only other offensive lineman listed above him was David Bakhtiari, which I kind of anticipated, and I can understand because Bakhtiari has been a mainstay on that Green Bay offensive line, and he's continually been one of the best left tackles, if not the best left tackle in the game. And the reason that Trent only got ranked 42 was because it's pretty much a given. The guys were basically looking at it and going, it's Trent. Like, you know what you got to get. He come out there. He's a mauler. He's a brawler. He's not playing. So the beauty of having Trent there is the fact that you go ahead and, off rip, there's not really many left tackles in the game that are going to outshine him. And you know that your blind side is protected as long as Trent is healthy. Trent did not play the year before, so I can probably see why they wound up, kind of ranking him right behind David Bakhtiari. But I can tell you right now, for the list for 2022, Trent will most likely be the top offensive lineman, provided he stays healthy. I know he's down right now. I think they had like a hip injury or something like that. Nothing crazy, but I'm pretty sure they'll just keep him out for preseason just so they can go ahead and get him into the season fully healthy and ready to go. So the other guy there that came in was at number 50, and that was George Kittle. The main reason that George Kittle wound up being at number 50 was strictly based on the fact that George Kittle was not healthy last year. We all understand that. We all know that. He only played 8 games. So in those 8 games, Kittle had 48 receptions, 634 yards, 13.2 yards per catch, 2 TDs. Longest catch was 44. And he did have a couple of rushing attempts, but nothing spectacular. So you didn't get to see a lot of Kittle once again. Why? Because he was injured. A lot of our team was injured last year. I think at one point we literally had the most money and the most injuries in the league simultaneously. So the guys that were ranked ahead of George Kittle, which I anticipated should be correct, is due to these guys' production, them being healthy and them being on the field. That was Darren Waller from the Raiders. Darren Waller had 107 receptions, 1,196 yards. He averaged 11.2 yards per catch, 9 TDs. His longest catch was 38 yards. He did have 2 fumbles. But what I can tell you is Darren Waller is a baller. And Darren Waller is a monster. I mean, this dude is 6'6", 255. That's a whole lot of human being to try to take down when you're a linebacker, defensive back, and or safety. So you definitely see this guy doing what he does. He's a damn good receiving tight end. I still say the best overall tight end in the league to me is George Kittle because of what he can do in the blocking game and what he does in the in the receiving game. And every now and then they still use him as a running back, once in a blue moon or end arounds, and you don't really see that with other tight ends. But I still will say I agree with Darren Waller being ahead of him, just because of the production and the fact that he was healthy all year. And then of course the other guy that was listed ahead of him, we all know, we all understand who this guy is, and most people will tout him the best tight end in the game. I believe he's the best receiving tight end in the game. But George Kittle is on his heels about that too. It's Travis Kelce. Now, the other caveat to it is that Darren Waller led his team in receptions as far as receiving yards, and Travis Kelce the same. So those two dudes are very dynamic, and they are going to be used very often, strictly based on the fact that these guys are the guys that you will see as far as the main people featured on those teams. So you'll see a lot of Darren Waller. You know they're going to target him. Why? Because he's that dude. And then when it comes to Kansas City, they have several different receivers on the squad that they can throw the ball to and make plays with. But Travis Kelce is he's an animal, and he is to be respected. Travis Kelce is an otherworldly type of dude as far as like being a tight end, man. He just, when he gets the ball in his hands, it's dynamic. I know George Kittle did the tight end U thing, and he had Waller, he had Kelce there, and it's dope to see somebody taking a hold of their position and saying we're not going to be neglected anymore. We're not just dudes that block for the running backs and block for the offensive line and chip block guys. We are tight ends, and we do matter, and we for damn sure mean a lot to these teams. Because with Darren Waller and Travis Kelce leading a team in receiving, that says something. That gives you that gives you cause to part. That tells you, hey, either this guy's that dynamic and he's that good that we can keep throwing him the ball, and or we've got a problem. We need to get some damn receivers on this team because tight end should not be leading the team in receiving. But Travis Kelce last year, he had 105 receptions, 1,416 yards receiving, 13.5 yards per catch, 11 TDs. Longest catch was 45 yards. So, I mean, these are things that you normally expect from Travis Kelce. You expect double-digit TDs. You expect him to get at least 1,000 yards. Like, this is nothing new. Like, for Kelce, that's just continuous. Every year, we already know. He did pretty well in the postseason, too. 360 yards, 3 TDs, 11.6 yards to catch. So, the main thing for a receiver, you always want to average at least 10 yards a catch, because that means you're getting the first down every time. And when it comes to Travis Kelce, we all know who he is. We all know how he works, and we can understand it. And like I said, you respect that. Travis Kelce and Darren Waller do deserve to be ahead of George Kittle, only due to the fact that Kittle wasn't healthy. Because if you remember when Kittle broke the receiving yards record for tight ends, he did that with a trio of different quarterbacks. So it didn't matter who was throwing him the ball, he caught it. And I liken that season specifically to what DeAndre Hopkins has done over his whole career. DeAndre Hopkins is the only receiver to play with a carousel of quarterbacks and consistently get 1,000 yards, and I believe he's tried to get at least double-digit touchdowns every single year. Because he's that dynamic of a receiver. I know he's in our division, and I don't like it, but we have Jason Verrett, so I'm not too worried about it. The last guy that made the top 100 list was at number 97, and it was Juice. There were no other fullbacks on the list, so we don't even need to look over anything. The number one thing you need to know is Juice is the most dynamic fullback in the game. There is not another fullback that is better than him. And I challenge you to go ahead and tell me who he is and what's going on and how this guy is actually going to be that great because I just don't see it. Period, point blank. There's not another fullback in the game that is going to be better than Juice. Period. I've never seen another one that's like that. And what he could do in the run game and the pass game and everything, he literally is the man. So when you take a look at it, just from those standards, and you see what we have there, period point blank, Fred Warner 21, Trent Williams 22, George Kittle at number 50, and Juice at number 97. It's respectable that those players made it because outside of maybe on the defensive side of the ball, possibly Kerry Hyder, because Hyder hasn't had consistency in this league. That's the reason why you don't see him ranked. Those are things that you definitely don't see as far as that stuff goes. So let me get into these comments because I am going from my phone. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for the comment on the shirt. I love Black Panther, Matt. Let's see. See if Jimmy starts versus the Raiders, then Trey will start week one. Trey starts Raiders. I don't know. I think what they're gonna do is they're going to go ahead and do what they normally do. I think they're gonna stick with the plan that they had this week. They're gonna put Jimmy in with the starters, probably give him maybe 2 series, depending on how things go. And as long as those series don't run super long and they're not overly concurrent, um, then they'll go ahead and they'll say, you know what, we're going to go ahead and throw Trey Lance in for a couple series with the starters just to see what we have. Now, we know that Trent Williams won't be on the field, so it'll be Jalen Moore starting at left tackle. But I do hope and pray and do believe that we will see Alex Mack in this game. I do believe that George Kittle will be in this game. And I hopefully do believe that Raheem Mostert will be in this game. If not, then it'll be the same mix of JaMycal Hasty and Wayne Gallman, which is not a big deal because those guys have been running fairly well. And I'd rather see them out there possibly getting beat up or injured rather than, running around with Raheem Mostert. So that basically that's how I look at that. Let's see what else we got. What's good, John B? What's going on? Izzy? Um, let's see. Fred went up 49 spots to 21. But was what? Yeah, I can understand that, Izzy. Let's see what else we got in here. Let me just a sec. Let's see. He said Raiders fan here, but I'm stopping by to show some love and leave a like. Hey, I appreciate you, Travis. I really do, man. I'm always good with Raider fans. I like I said, I'm good with any fan from any team. I'm a type of guy. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I like to talk shit and have a good time. The back and forth banter works with me. I take nothing personal. I'm one of those dudes. I want you to tell me how trash my team is because I'm gonna tell you how trash your team is. And at the end of the day, if I can dap you up and we can both look at each other and say, "Hey, man, good game," no matter who won, that I that's just how I am. That's the type of fan I am. I know my team, and I'm telling you right now, if I'm playing your team, I know your team, and I know your stars, and I know who is and isn't going to give me a problem. Like when we play the Cardinals, I know DeAndre Hopkins is going to give me some goddamn issue. I know Chandler Jones is a threat on the defensive side of the ball. Like these are things that I know. You know what I'm saying? I know Buda Baker's an okay safety. Probably pretty good, but I'm gonna give him okay because he's a Cardinal and I don't like anybody in my division. Just how it is. But appreciate you stopping by, man. Thank you for the like. Um, let's see what else is going on here. He said John B says he may be fullback in the NFL post Nigeria. No, man, we had other fullbacks in the league, man. We had Lorenzo Neal. As far as I think he was on the Chargers, and I think he played for the Ravens as well. Bruce Miller, we have Bruce Miller as a fullback on our squad. As far as that goes, so yeah, he definitely was. Um, let's see. He says, Izzy says, no, John. Yet it's almost impossible right now to make to take my shot because of the blacks and the blues. But thanks, my friend. Um, let's see here. All right. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Izzy. Thank you for the likes. Um, Yeah, hopefully, let's see. JG versus Lance has become controversial, as we all took a part of it. Hopefully everything is cool. If if something going on, John, you got to hit me, bro. Let me know what's happening. And then the other thing that I did want to talk about was our roster moves really quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up just real fast. The roster moves that we did have. We cut a couple people. We cut defensive lineman Shalik Calhoun. We went ahead and cut BW Webb. He wasn't playing well anyway. Calhoun was just a camp body. And then we cut wide receiver the Boat River Craycraft. Glad that he's gone. He was worthless. We didn't really need him. We cut offensive lineman Corbin Kafusi. Corbin Kafusi was not playing well either. And we went ahead and put Michael Kendricks on the reserve on the IR. So we went ahead and we made sure that we had enough spots to open up. The issue with Michael Kendricks is the same thing. The issue with Malcolm Smith. I don't know what it is with this team and loving these goddamn injured players, but for some ungodly reason, we love injured players, and everybody seems to think that like John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan seem to like taking chances on these dudes. I don't get it. I know somebody told me that D'Amico Ryans and Michael Kendricks were teammates over in not Kansas City, in Philadelphia. Like I get that, but at the end of the day, if a dude's injury prone or if they're coming out of Seattle, just leave them alone. Don't touch them. Why? Because Malcolm Smith barely played anything or played any snaps for us. We wound up cutting him. And look at Kendrick. We picked him up, and what did we do? Threw him on the IR. Just a waste. So don't stop going after injured players. Find a dude that's out there in the league that's healthy, that's been able to do things, and that can produce. Stop going after dudes that don't give you anything. But that's all for this video, man. I just wanted to jump on real quick. Hey, what's going on, Sin? Um, and just throw that out there. As far as the top 100, I will be jumping on probably a little bit later today. Me and Breezy gonna do a show based on the Madden rating. So I have the game. We're gonna pull up the game. I think I'm gonna see if I can get Breezy to go ahead and do it on his Twitch platform because it makes more sense. As far as like him being able to broadcast everything and he knows how to do that stuff on Twitch. I don't mess with Twitch. I don't know nothing about it. Only reason I even downloaded it is to help out my dog Breezy. But at the end of the day, we have our players on the top 100. We at least got four dudes: Fred, Trent, George, and Juice. And I hope and anticipate that this year we can have more. You know what I'm saying? I hope that four goes to at least six or eight because it's a beautiful thing when you see that your players are recognized for being that dope. And I like the fact that they did a list based on what the players think, not based on what the media thinks, because the media is going to feed you the same BS dudes every single time. Whereas the players are going to tell you, look, I played against this dude, ain't no joke. It's hard to tackle him, or this guy is this fast, or this guy, man, it's as a receiver, I don't want to go up against this dude. He gives me the most problems, the most fits. Like I remember Jalen Ramsey saying D Hop is always at the top of his list. And yeah, because he got baseball mitts for fucking hands, and the dude can catch just about anything you throw at him. So it makes sense. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in and taking a look at things with your boy. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful day. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Like I said, I'll be back on a little bit later. It'll be either through me or it'll be through Breezy. But we definitely gonna go ahead and review these Madden ratings, and that's gonna be a fun one, man, because we can definitely go on and on about that and take a look at things and see exactly what we have to offer and where the game went wrong. So I know how those things wind up working, but thank you so much for taking the time out to tune in. I see you guys out there, and you guys definitely go ahead and stay blessed, stay faithful. Go Niners.